Imagine this. You're standing outside on a bright afternoon. The air feels warm, the light dances across every surface, and life goes on as usual. But then, without a sound, without a warning, the sun vanishes. No explosion, no fading glow, just darkness. At that exact moment, every living thing on Earth would look up in confusion. The sky would go completely black, stars appearing in the middle of the day. Within seconds, the world would realize something is terribly wrong. Because for the first time in human history, the sun is gone. This isn't just about light. The sun is more than a ball of fire. It's the heartbeat of our planet, the reason life even exists. Its energy drives our weather, feeds our ecosystems, and holds everything in orbit. So what would really happen if that light disappeared for just 5 minutes? First, the obvious. We wouldn't see it instantly. Because light from the sun takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach Earth. So even if the sun vanished right now, we'd still see daylight for a little over 8 minutes before everything went black. But in this scenario, let's say we fast forward to the moment when its light and gravity disappear at the same time. That's when things get strange. In the very first second, the Earth would plunge into total darkness. Not twilight, not a sunset. Darkness. Absolute cosmic black. Streetlights would flicker on. Animals would panic. Birds would stop mid-flight, confused by the sudden night. Some might crash into trees. Predators that rely on vision, like eagles or lions, would freeze in confusion. And humans? The power grids would go haywire. Solar panels would stop working instantly. Everything that depends on solar radiation, from satellites to communication systems, would begin to fail. Temperature wouldn't drop immediately. Air holds heat for a while. But within 60 seconds, the upper atmosphere would start cooling fast. In just 5 minutes of solar absence, the Earth's surface would cool by a few degrees. Not catastrophic yet, but enough to send shock waves through the atmosphere. Winds would shift violently as hot and cold air tried to rebalance. You might feel sudden gusts, as if the planet itself was exhaling in confusion. Plants, deprived of sunlight, would stop photosynthesis instantly. For 5 minutes, that's not deadly, but the real problem is psychological. Animals depend on light cues to control hormones and behaviors. If the sun vanished without warning, circadian rhythms would collapse for a moment, throwing the natural order into chaos. Now, gravity. If the sun truly disappeared, not just its light, but its mass, Earth would no longer orbit it. Our planet would shoot off in a straight line into space, carrying the moon along. We wouldn't feel it first. There's no jolt or quake when gravity disappears. But over time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Luckily, in this 5-minute scenario, the sun returns before we drift too far. Still, in those 5 minutes, Earth's motion would already begin to shift ever so slightly, our cosmic balance temporarily lost. And then there's human panic. Think about it. One moment it's daylight, the next eternal night. Social media would explode with theories. An eclipse? An alien attack? The end of the world? Governments would scramble for explanations, but science would have none. Because even our instruments in space, telescopes, satellites, probes, would go dark, their energy sources gone. The solar system would be blind. But here's what's even more fascinating. Even if the sun disappeared for only 5 minutes, those 300 seconds would echo through time. The disruption in solar radiation would affect Earth's magnetic field. Radio waves would distort. Some satellites might lose orbit. And as the atmosphere contracts slightly from cooling, global air pressure would fluctuate violently. Planes in midair could experience turbulence like never before. The sky itself would seem to tremble. And then, finally, after 5 minutes that feel like forever, a faint glow would appear at the edge of the horizon. Birds would cry out. People would run outside, looking up as the blue slowly returns. The sun is back. But even though everything seems normal again, the planet wouldn't forget what happened. Sensors would record bizarre fluctuations in temperature, magnetic fields, and ionization. Satellites would need recalibration, and scientists would spend decades trying to understand how the impossible just occurred. Now, if you're wondering, could the sun really vanish like that? In reality, no. The laws of physics don't allow it to simply blink out of existence. Even if the sun were to die, say through a supernova, it would take years for the effects to reach us. What we're imagining here is pure thought experiment, a cosmic what if that reveals how fragile our existence truly is. The sun is not just a light in the sky. It's our timekeeper, our life source, our gravitational anchor. Every breath you take, every bite of food, every drop of rain exists because of the energy it sends to Earth. 5 minutes without it might sound small, but it's enough to remind us how dependent we are on that star 150 million kilometers away. We take daylight for granted. We wake up, go to work, complain when it's too hot, too bright, but we rarely stop to realize that every moment of light is a cosmic gift, a perfect balance between chaos and creation. If the sun disappeared for 5 minutes, humanity would feel a collective heartbeat of fear. Not because we'd all die instantly, but because in those few minutes of darkness, we'd understand just how alone and how small we really are in the vast, cold universe. And maybe when the light returned, we'd see it differently. Not just as the sun, but as the reason we exist at all. So, the next time you feel the warmth on your skin, remember, it's not just sunlight, it's survival.